Alright, suspension time on the VL. Now I'm going to start from the back and work my way forward. So the back's a lot easier, so that's where I'm starting. Now there is a couple of bits missing, but in the spirit of getting a video out, I'm going to do what I got. So we've got some brand new from White Line rear lower control arms with brand new bushes in them. Now crazily enough, I went to buy just the bushes and they were $70, and then the arms with the bushes in it were $77. So no brainer there. I think it was a one-off, or they'd made a mistake on the ad because the ad's now gone, so I was just lucky. It was 77 bucks delivered straight from White Line. We got an adjustable panhard rod, some king springs, we've got some new rear shocks, and I've got some sway bar end links. I'm still waiting on D bushes and also those upper trailing arms, upper control arms, whatever you want to call them, bushes for those as well. Now spring wise, I am using exactly what I have in the VN, which are SLs in the back and L's in the front. And if you're wondering why the hell are you changing the springs in the VL, it sits pretty good. Well, once I have them out, I will show you exactly why. And here is exactly why. Choppies, which I definitely do not want in here. Straight out, I'm gonna give as much as I can in here a good scrub before anything goes back in. This has actually had panhard rod bushes before pretty recently. Even the grease looks new, but that's getting pulled out anyway. As you can see, both these shocks are well and truly gone. In the bin. Now I had a lot of people in a previous video where I did the rear end of the VN complaining that I wasn't using actual rubber grease when fitting rear arms, so I hope this makes you guys happy. Public service announcement. Sometimes you will have a left and right spring, usually with fronts, not rears. But with these, you also have a top and a bottom. Now, of course, you'd common sense put the writing the right way, but as you can see, the coils get tighter at the top, so they go to the top, just to prevent anyone making a mistake. And I realize I'm also missing the rubber boots that go here and here, which rare spares do, so we'll grab those and put them in later. Now just the annoying part of getting in the boot. So if you're as smart as me, instead of looking in the box, you'll just go for it and put the shocks in. And realize there's a bush that goes on either side of the body with KYB shocks. So I've got to get the diff down and the car up on stands again. Put a bush between the shock and the body underneath the car. And these, I'm honestly going to leave till I get the D bushes because I want to paint that sway bar and there's no point pulling it out twice. So that's it, all done in here. New king springs, new lower control arms and bushes, new panhard rod and bushes, new shocks. And one thing I stupidly forgot to do was measure the height before I did all this compared to after to see if it raised it, lowered it, because who the hell knows. But I'll be able to tell by looking at it. Don't forget to put those bushes in. Idiot. Oh, and if you didn't notice, while everything was out, I gave in here a paint with this stuff. because I know people will ask. The only bad thing about it is it does clog the nozzle very quickly because of how thick it is. I went through 3 nozzles in one can. I actually think it's lower now, to be honest, which is the opposite of what I wanted. I wanted it sort of a bit higher, but I do have a solution for that, which will come in the future. So I'm going to pack up all this junk, set the panhard rod as it is way too far to the driver's side, and today is Mother's Day, so head to my mum's. So I've had a few more things come in the mail since last week's video, one of which being these seat adjuster covers for the front seats. From one of my earlier videos, someone actually noticed that these were broken in my car, as you can see here, and it's actually a pretty common thing because you get out and sort of catch the edge of these. So most VLs, these are broken, hence they're being repro ones. But yeah, as I said, someone noticed they were broken, contacted me and said they had a set that they didn't need and sent them down. So massive thank you to Tom who sent those through. I will definitely put them to good use. Even when I get another set of seats, I will transfer them over to those as well. So they're pretty simple. All you gotta do is pop this off, and then there's a screw on the side here and one on the back, and that comes off and sort of around the adjuster. Now I did practice this because I didn't actually know how to get these off, but they are pretty simple. If you just pop like a trim tool behind, they will pop off. And of course, very dirty behind there. And this just off over the top. Absolutely filthy. Ugh. So obviously give that a clean before the new one goes on as well. So all nice and clean behind there. And this is the replacement unbroken one. And I just realized Rare Spares actually stamp these GM and with the right part number. That part number matches the genuine one that I just pulled off. So pretty cool. Oof, this side is way worse. Look at that. Ugh. And that's it, both sides brand new, and as usual, something that most people won't notice, but good to do to make a good car an even better car. Now I reckon I got like at least 15 to 20 messages about the last few videos asking what it is I use to clean the interior of my car. So instead of replying to a million messages, this is it. CRC Biodegreaser. You can get this from pretty much anywhere. Bunnings, Repco, Burson, Super Cheap Auto, and it's environmentally friendly. So go get some, it works really well on interiors. So in my first video on the VL, I mentioned that one of the big things with this car that I loved was the big paper trail of service history, and I never showed it. So I'm gonna finish this video off with, well, I'll start with service book and manual. Has the original rego, original owner, everything matching to the book to the car. And it actually has, I did a little bit of digging. It has service history, obviously from new, up to 1993, and its last service in here was 75,000 Ks. But after that, there is all these which are services. I've got 100,000 Ks where I got brakes, new exhaust, transmission service, brake master cylinder, rack and pinion, timing belt, etc, and 110,000 another service, a few exhaust manifold studs, a muffler and stuff like that, tires, a wheel alignment, 120,000 Ks, oil filter, spark plugs, all this sort of stuff. Had an ignition barrel, brake shoes, brake cylinders at one point, 130,000 Ks, basic service, and then that's where it sort of skips and we come all the way to 240,000 in 2012. So this car actually hasn't done many Ks in the last 10 years because it's not much more than that now. Service. And these are all local too, so this car's always been local. Service, fuel tank hose, indicator switch, horn, service, and the last service recorded is actually 2021, 270,000, which is here, and it's still got 270,000 on it. So It hasn't been driven pretty much at all in the last 2 years. And the other stuff I have here, which is pretty interesting, is, well, apart from a few other random service bits and pieces, 1995, 1998, 2008, even a service at Patterson Cheney, which is a Holden dealership in 1994. This is the little paper pouch you would have got with all your paperwork in it when you bought the car brand new, so I still have that. I have the warranty card from GMH here, not filled out, so that's completely blank. There's some other services and crap here. There's an old wheel alignment sheet, like look how very analog wheel alignments were back then. We got the build sheet that I found under the carpet, and I have the instruction manual for the standard head unit. And also, because this was a company car, it has a fleet sort of book as well, because it was obviously a fleet car. Now the coolest thing, which I actually didn't know until about 10 minutes ago when I was reading through the manual, I thought, oh, I'm going to flick through and have a look at some stuff. And I was reading this page titled Keys and Locks, and it says in here that when you got the car, you would have 2 different keys. So you'd have one with a plastic head on it, which was a master key, which is one of these, which I still have, the original GM one. So that opens everything in the car, like glove box, everything. And then you had this with a metal head with this weird sort of shape in it that was called a service key. And it says here, service key is left with the vehicle when it's parked in areas described above and only operates the door locks and the ignition switch. This enables the vehicle to be moved if required, but does not allow entry to the glove box or boot. So there's a separate key that doesn't open glove box or boot, and I've got it. So hopefully you can see that, GM. So I actually got that one, and there's a copy of it. So I am over the moon that I have that. I never even knew that existed. And for it to still be there after 30 years, whatever years, is pretty amazing. There's also here, look, it doesn't say a year on it, but this tag going from the font and stuff like that looks super old. And from being someone that's worked in a dealership, I'm gonna say that's the dealership tag that's still on the key. And actually, that's a genuine key too. I didn't even see that GM there. So how cool is that? And I realized as well, while looking through the instruction manual, that I need the tire brace. It's just a single brace for the wheel nuts, obviously, but the other end is what you use to pump the jack, which I don't have. So if anyone has one of those, I will take that 100%. But so this car has a really, really good paper trail of paperwork for servicing and stuff like that. Only missing a few along the way. And I actually thought it'd be pretty cool, because all these places are local. These are all in the western suburbs, all these workshops that it's been to, like Altona, Williamstown, Port Melbourne. I think I might look up if they're still there, and if I can, take the car and take a few photos out the front of each place that's ever worked on this car. I don't know if that's stupid, but it sounds pretty cool to me, so we'll see how we go there.